check the latest updated result of Nifty 11. So why Nifty 11? There are several reasons why to see Nifty 11 because Nifty 11 is having around 65% share in total Nifty 50, right? So if we see Nifty 11, it reflects the overall Nifty. You'll able to know what are the current trends of result, which companies are in real term monitoring Nifty, due to which companies or which sectors Nifty is either rallying or falling, right? Because people may be thinking कल बाजार गिरेगा, अच्छे result नहीं है. But what about Nifty 11? Are their results bad? Because reflection in the Nifty comes from Nifty 11. Let us check the result, right? So before I open the, okay, here is the result, right? Okay. Before I discuss this latest result, okay, where is it? Okay, all right, here it is, right? So as we discuss Nifty 11 results, let me inform you about upcoming events. Students are already updating results daily, right? We still now we have seen that they have updated some major groups results, some broader indices result they have updated, and in coming time you will see that majority of the sectors and indices will be covered in this quarter one latest result update, which can help you in decision making of where to increase weightage and where to decrease the weightage, right? Okay, so here is Nifty 11, right? What is Nifty 11? If we check the weightage of Nifty 11, as you can see that in Nifty 11, there are banks, cigarettes, computer software companies, that is IT consulting software, personal product, engineering, housing finance, refinery, and telecom services. So Nifty 11 reflects 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These 8 sector companies are there in top Nifty 11. Right? As we said, 66% market share of Nifty comes from only Nifty 11. So top 11 companies is equal to 66%. Remaining 39 companies is equal to 35%. So who have major share? Yeah, let me repeat. Top 11 companies reflect 66%. So top 11 means just 20% companies are responsible for 67% productivity, while majority of these 80% companies are responsible only for this 35% capitalization, or you can say sales or profit. Here, as we can see, bank reflects 19% in Nifty 50, right? In Nifty 11. Which bank comes in Nifty 11? HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, and Kotak Bank, right? So HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Kotak Bank, these 3 banks are in top Nifty 11, where HDFC Bank is responsible for 10% of market share. 4% comes from cigarette, and that's ITC. IT consulting is responsible for 13%. That is also a big thing. So Infi and TCS are responsible from IT consulting. Personal product 4%, and that is Hindustan Lever. Construction and engineering, that is L&T, comes in this sector with 2%, just 2% of share. Housing finance, that is HDFC, which is again parent company of HDFC Bank, is responsible alone for 7%, while Reliance alone for 14%. So that's a very big market share, right? Alone Reliance Industry is responsible for 14% share in total Nifty 50. Bharti Airtel from telecom reflect for 3%. So how it works? today this 11 companies reflects 66% of total Nifty. So these companies come from various sectors. As these companies have grown during past 30-40 years, that is the reason today they are in top 11. Now, here if we see a decade back Nifty 50 or a 2 decade back Nifty 50, then you would see that some mining companies, that is metal companies, would be coming in top companies, or some manufacturing companies were there in top 11. That is primary and secondary industries. But here, if you see today you can see that service sector is dominated by Nifty. Nifty service sector is dominating. How HDFC, ICC, Kotak, these all come from service sector. ITC from personal product or cigarette. Infosys, TCS, yeah, they come from again service sector. Hindustan Lever and ITC, both these companies are old companies, right? Yeah, still they were able to take their and regain their position in top 11 companies. That's good thing, because both of these companies have good market share in personal product, big market share in their own sector, right? Both are both have companies have given good brands to India, and that is the reason that since long time both of these companies are able to sustain in Nifty 11. And as India is growing from have grown from in the past, we know that majority of the Indian population was below poverty line. Today, 22% people are below poverty line. So many people were able to transform themselves from poverty line to today middle class or lower middle class or even upper class. So this give boost to this consumption type of product, right? And that is the reason we have seen Hindustan Lever, ITC sustain their place. Even L&T, engineering company, yes, they were the leader, and even they were in top 5 companies. But construction and engineering during past 2 decades has not grown so well. And that is the reason slowly, once they were having 5% market total share in Nifty 50, today they are having just 2% share. Right? Housing finance, that is HDFC, have grown very well during 2 decades, and hence 7% is good share. Reliance from refinery. So here you see refinery, but in real term, refinery is not having big market share. If Reliance would be in refinery till now, then Reliance would not be in top 11. But yeah, today's Reliance is not only refinery, but today's Reliance is retail, that is department store and IT combined. So 50% of their market cap or sales or profits are from other companies which they have developed during past decade, right? So telecom also, Bharti, they were in top 5. Today it is at 11th place. During last 10 years, growth was not as good in this sector. So what we can see in coming 10-20 years, all those companies which will not able to grow, some industries which will grow faster than this today's industry will be replaced by that company. Some companies will be out and other companies will be in. In coming time, we may see some other sectors taking place of this sector. So let us see what can happen and which companies can take place. Right here we have already seen that 66% is the share of just Nifty 11. So as you are checking Nifty 11, be prepared, you are checking 66% of the Nifty 50, right? And you know Nifty 50 itself is responsible for around 70% market cap of total Nifty, right? So Nifty 11 represent huge portion in Nifty itself, right? Here is the detail that Nifty 11 is equal to, yeah, we have already discussed. Reliance is equal to Nifty 50 bottom 22. Means if you take Nifty 50's bottom 22 companies, bottom 22's market cap is equal to Reliance Industries alone market cap. So we should see why Reliance Industries market cap is so huge. For example, India's market cap is around, you can say that it trades between 150 lakh crore to 200 lakh crore. Our GDP is also 200 lakh crore. So what it says that market cap should be near to GDP. So in the same way, market cap of Reliance should be around its sales, that is 6 lakh crore sales. So why in this case Reliance market cap is 15 lakh crore whereas sales is just 6 lakh crore, right? Huge market cap difference. So investors are giving premium to Reliance, right? In all those companies or sector where investor feels that growth will be high, we may see huge growth in coming time. There, premiumization will be seen, right? Yeah, today it's almost double market cap than their real sales. But what in coming time you are going to see sales are going to see huge boom due to their portion in retail and IT, right? So what we can say in Reliance industry, why market cap is so huge? Yes, because investors are expecting sales to grow very well. Here is the list. Combine all these 22 companies. This is equal to Reliance industry alone. So very good. Now here is the detail of all your 11 companies, equity, sales and profit. See, all three things are important. Why? What is equity? Whenever company is born with equity and debt. These two are fund sources, right? So equity is the paid up equity capital which initial stakeholder put in to run that company. If they will need more money, they will have some debt, and equity and debt. Combining this both the thing, we will see company move further. So what is there? Here you can see that some companies need lesser equity. For example, here is Hindustan Lever, L&T. Why Hindustan Lever and L&T are having very less equity? For example, they are having around just 200 crore equity, but they are able to do turnover of around 40,000 to around 1.5 lakh. They are making profit of around 10,000 crore from the equity of just 200 crore. Why? Because both of these companies are old companies. We can't compare this company with Reliance or TCS because why? When these both companies were born at that time, it was they would need lesser money to run or start any company. So that is the reason they were having lesser equity. But still, in this time, money or fund. They do not need a huge fund to run their company. And that's the reason they are running their business with less equity. So that's a good thing. If you see some other companies like HDFC, TCS, HDFC Bank, Kotak Bank, these all are also with very less equity. Now, these all companies were born even after Reliance Industry. So we can't say that these are old companies. No, these are new companies, but still in this sector where they are operating, equity, that is money, required money is lesser. So you can see TCS with just a very low equity of around 400 crore, they managed to do turnover of around 1.5 lakh crore or profit of 32,000 crore. So that's huge wealth creation, right? Just stakeholders 400 crore are there on investment of 400 crore they are getting profit of 32,000 crore, huge wealth creation. Even in HDFC Bank you can see, right? Now Bharti, Reliance, these all industries are those industries where they need huge money. Bharti especially due to huge changes in telecom, and Reliance due to refineries, right? So this is their equity capital and this is their sales. You can see that in sales. See in India, there are no companies with more than 5 lakh crore turnover apart from IOC and Reliance Industry. Right? So refineries are with huge turnover. ONGC with around 3.5 to 4 lakh crore turnover. But they are not able to convert their sales to profit. Right? Here Reliance we see they are with huge sales of 6 lakh crore. See 4 5 years back also we were saying that in India when Reliance market cap was just 3 4 lakh crore, what we used to discuss that in India we are going to see at least 5 companies will be having market cap of around 10 to 15 lakh crore. And see, have already seen Reliance. Just wait, in coming 2-3 years, we are going to see TCS also reaching 15 lakh crore market cap. Right? So this is the way. India as a whole, if you see, still our big companies, large companies are not so much large. Right? If our economy is going to move from 3 trillion today to 10 trillion, you are going to see our large companies even getting more larger, around 3 to 4x large. You are going to see our large companies. If you see middle order companies like small cap or mid cap companies, India have around 500 to 600 companies with 1000 crore. Right? So 1000 crore companies, only 500 to 600 companies are there with 1000 to 1500 crore turnover or market cap. So this is where too less. As India will approach to 10 trillion, we are going to see there will be around 3000 companies with the same 1000 crore market, right? So huge middle order, we will see several companies would be coming. So we should focus on both this place. On larger companies also we should focus. Some good companies with all those companies which are operating their business in growing industry. So large companies are going to grow further. And these middle order companies also are going to see huge growth. These companies will transform from today's mid cap to tomorrow's large cap. Right? So same thing here. See, no companies are from with 5 lakh crore turnover. Only you see Reliance, that's not good. Our largest bank doing only turnover of 1.5 lakh crore. Our largest IT doing turnover of 1.5 lakh crore. No. Till 2030, we are going to see our banks and IT companies reaching turnover of 5 lakh crore plus. Got it? So you know where to focus. Our some personal product companies could also reach more than 2 lakh crore turnover, because as India's consumption will grow, you will see these all changes. Your e-commerce could grow, so focus on these all things. Right? No need to worry. बहुत लोग बहुत कतराते फिरते हैं. कल क्या होगा, बाजार गिर जाएगा. Don't think short. India is a booming economy. Right? So here the sales are nothing, as you can see. Bharti Airtel turnover 90,000 crore turnover. We will see Bharti reaching 2 lakh crore turnover till 2025 to 30. Your Infi with just 90,000 crore turnover could cross 1.5 lakh crore turnover. Your best bank HDFC is going to reach profit of 50,000 crore in coming 3-4 years only. Biggest housing finance, biggest construction company could grow, and all those sectors which are growing are going to come in this Nifty level, right? So focus on all those things. See, this is the data of 1997. Who was king in 1997? ONGC was having highest profit of 5,000 crore. So today ONGC is making profit of around 20,000 crore. It doesn't mean that ONGC has not grown, but some other sector have grown better than ONGC and IOCL. That is the reason they took their place. Today IOCL make profit of around 20,000 crore, right? HUL was making profit of 1,500 crore. Today they make profit of, where is, here they are, 7,000 crore. So they are having good growth, but not as good as these all other banks and IT companies have grown. That is the reason HUL was third in 1997. Today HUL is at. So that's the good news for you. Many companies are going to upgrade themselves from where they are, and that will help you create good wealth in coming time, right? So here, as you can see, that net equity of these 11 companies is 16,000 crore. So their stakeholder have invested around, their investment is around 16,000 crore versus 16,000 crore. The turnover is around 16 lakh crore. So that's the return sales they were able to get on their investment, and profit is 1.6 lakh crore. So wonderful. That's not bad. invested 16,000 crore, making profit of 1.6 lakh crore. And that is also annually. This is what where we need to focus. Right? See, generally retail investor just focus on मेरा share कितना बढ़ा, कितना घटा, portfolio कितना down, and that is not important thing. What do you think? Is all promoters are checking their share price daily? Those promoters checking their share price daily are not the right promoters. Right? They are not focused on their business. If we focus on business, price is going to get reflected. Right? These all companies are those companies which have performed better, and that is the reason we see reflection in their prices. Right? So here is this what thing. Investment of 16,000 crore today is producing 1.6 lakh crore. So that's good thing. How much time returns they are getting? 10 times return every year. Just think about it. Right? Out of this 1.6 lakh crore, they would be distributing some dividend, and remaining would be placed in there. Right? So that's good. Apart from Bharti, all the companies are making profit. See, we are in a pandemic time, right? Very bad time. Then also during this time, also only Bharti is the company which made loss last year. Right? Even this year, you will see that means all these 11 companies are going to make profit. Right? Despite this corona. Okay. So if you compare the share of Nifty 11 in Nifty 50, just think about it. 31% turnover of total Nifty 50 comes from this top Nifty 11. And 50% profit of total Nifty 50 comes from only these 11 companies. So who are making profit in Nifty 50? These top big kings. Those which are not making profit will be dragged down, and more profit making company will be coming in this Nifty. Right? So yeah, in coming time, your sum picture will be changed. Now let us see why this company were able to take their place in Nifty, or they are able to sustain themselves in Nifty 11. Here is the data. Here is the growth data. As you can see, if we check these all 11 companies, this is their growth since last 20 years. Except HUL. Just HUL have not grown with double digit. Except HUL, majority of the companies were able to grow during last 20 years. Right? And that also good growth. Average growth of this Nifty 11 is 22%. Average growth of, this is not actually average, this is called as median growth, right? So median growth of Nifty 50 is 19%. So you can assume from today itself, all those companies today also which are able to grow by 19-20% will be able to enter in Nifty 50 in coming 5-10 years. And those companies which will not able to keep the pace of this growth will be dragged down. It doesn't mean they are bad, but some companies are growing better than these companies, right? If you consider last 17-year growth, median growth is 17 years. So yes, last 10 years growth was little bit lesser than what we have seen during last 20 years, right? So your Nifty 11 also you can see that growth was 14%. Here also just Bharati Airtel, Hindustan Lever and ICICI Bank. If you just don't see these three companies, Hindustan Lever, ICICI Bank and Bharati Airtel, then majority of the companies have grown in double digit. So these are the companies which were able to have huge demand, and that is the reason when you saw the data of 1997, none of these companies were in Nifty, right? Nifty 10 or Nifty 20 also, but this company were able to take their place. Why? Because of their growth, right? Considering their huge demand during last decade or 2 decades, you can see that average profit of these Nifty 11 companies is 21%, right? During last 2 decades. And majority of the companies except HUL, all these companies were able to have double digit growth, right? During last 1 decade, you will see, yes, Sales growth was down from 22 to 14. It has affected profit. During last decade, you can see that majority of the companies were having good growth except Reliance with just 5% growth during last decade. These were the companies with double, not double digit, but more than around 20% or more than 20%, which HDFC Bank, HDFC, Kotak, and TCS. So these are the companies with huge growth. These are the companies with median growth. Other companies, like here on. These are the companies which were not even in Nifty, but today they are at top level of Nifty. Why? Because during last decade also they have grown. So we can say that in current scenario also they are in high growth. Those companies which will not have good growth of sales or profit could be out of Nifty, and some other companies will be taking places, right? So if you compare quality of this company, what about quality of Nifty 11? Right, as we saw that the companies which good growth were able to take their place, right? But the companies with good quality will be able to make good profit, right? It is not like that demand would be there in their sector. So companies will be able to make good sales. But if their quality will not be there, then they will not be able to convert that sales to profit. Right. So here you can see that the company with the best margin in this whole sector are HUL, 17%, TCS, that is IT company have very good margin. ITC and HUL are having good margin. It shows that personal product companies having good margin, housing finance companies with good margin, right? Here you can see even banks like HDFC and Kotak Bank are having very good margins, right? L&T, construction engineering company, this sector is suffering with low demand and hence there is a low margin. If you check the debt paying capacity of this company, then you will see that ITC, Infi, TCS, Hindustan Liver, these all are some debt-free companies, right? We can't check debt of these all other companies. Why? Because they are banks or financial institutions. You're not able to check even debting capacity of L&T because L&T is having one subsidiary named L&T Finance Holding. So that is a finance company taking finance, giving finance. So here, if you will check the debt paying capacity, it will be wrong, right? So we have not checked debt paying capacity of L&T. Yes, Reliance is having high debt, and that was the reason we know that Reliance during last few months have such some good investors so that their debt will be decreased and they are successful in this thing. So this year we will see Reliance debting capacity increasing from this 3 to at least 2025, right? The target was to come in becoming debt-free companies and they are successful in this target. Right? Yeah, Bharti is having debt. We should be prepared for this thing. Right? Return on paid up equity. What is return on paid up equity? You just saw the data of equity. So if you check that stakeholder have invested XYZ amount, what they are able to make profit today is what return on paid up equity shows. So here you can see that companies like TCS, that is IT, having highest return on paid up equity in this whole sector. Right? Bharti is showing negative because they made loss last year. Otherwise, Hindustan Liver, TCS, HDFC Housing Finance, L&T, HDFC Bank, these all are with very good return on paid up equity. That is, all those investors who have invested in this company have made very good money. Right? Only one company is with negative, and that is also just last year Bharti made loss due to some provisions which were they were supposed to give payment to this tribe. This year you will see Bharti making good profits. Right? During long history, Bharti have never made losses. This is the first instant. So if you will just remove Bharti's this year loss, then you can see all these companies are having good history of making profit. If you check debt to equity, then also you can say that majority of those in Nifty 11 are debt-free companies, right? Like HUL, TCS, Envy, ITC, majority of them are very highly comfortable. Reliance debt to equity ratio is 0.6. So they are having somewhat debt. We have already discussed. Last column is pure return on equity. So see here, let me tell you, some people directly say this is return on equity, this is good, let me buy. No, do not go like this. Return on equity, this column shows that what amount of return investors are getting from total equity of this company. For example, if you see Hindustan Lever's return on equity is 82%. So what does it denote? The total equity means not only paid up equity, right? But the amount of profit which HUL make. Let me show you example. For example, paid up equity is 200 crore. HUL made profit of 7,000 crore. So for example, if HUL distribute 30-40% dividend, remaining portion, they will distribute you dividend. Remaining profit will stay in reserve, and hence your reserve portion will increase every year. So what is reserve? It is also equity. So when you are counting return on equity, what you count total reserve. That is reserve plus equity, right? So in the case of HUL, why it shows very high? Because HUL distribute 80% of the dividend. As they are distributing maximum dividend, very low amount goes to their reserve, and that is the reason their reserve is not increasing too much. So their total equity is lesser. As their total equity is lesser, return on equity figure shows higher. It doesn't mean that HUL, if I will put in HUL, I will be a wealth creator. No, just try to understand the parameter. Don't go blindly. लोग जो ही अंदर तुम देखते इसका return on equity बढ़िया है, let me buy it. No, बढ़िया इसलिए क्योंकि वो डिविडेंड में सब पैसा बांटता है. कंपनी ने कुछ रखा ही नहीं अपने पास. As company is having less equity, it shows high return on equity. Now, as per this data, what you see that Kotak Bank is having only 13 return on equity. Kitna? Only 13. So it means that HUL is better than Kotak. No, my dear friend, try to understand this data. Kotak does not distribute dividend. They distribute just 5 to 10% dividend. So remaining 90% money goes to reserve, and hence book value of this type of companies are increasing in a very good way. So what happens that Kotak is not giving money, they are keeping money. Promoter को भी ऐसा है, पैसा रहने दो, नहीं लेना है मेरे को, right? So that's very good theory, right? नहीं तो यस बैंक जैसा हो जाए तो पैसा किधर से लाएंगे ये लोग, right? But Kotak is having very good reserve. So what happens? If their reserve is big, when you count this return on equity, it will calculate on the total reserve. तो आपका रिटर्न ऑन इक्विटी कम बताएगा. जैसे HDFC बैंक 16 है, तो ऐसा मत थोड़ी ना है कि वो बुरी है. नो, इट इज गुड. Due to this reason, we were not showing you ROE in our report. But why today I have shown you pure ROE? Because you should understand that what are the drawbacks of return on equity, right? So that's the way you should do research. But see, as you can see, majority of the companies are top quality, right? Now it doesn't mean that as they are good quality, they will stay in Nifty and no company will overtake them. No, quality अपनी जगह है, growth अपनी जगह है. These both factors are important. We need both the thing, quality and growth. If your company are good quality but growth is not there, some companies from emerging sectors are going to overtake them, right? So be prepared. All those companies which are having high growth, all those sectors which are having high growth, from that growing sector, company with high quality are going to enter in Nifty, right? The companies with good margin of around 15%, if they are having good margin, if they are having high debt paying capacity, then be ready. If they are having good quality and they are from emerging sector, you will see all those companies like DMart, your life insurance companies, your e-commerce companies entering in this Nifty-11. Biotechnology company, healthcare services companies, right? Restaurant companies. If you see US, टेक्नोलॉजी की कंपनीज है, राइट? इंडिया में ऐसा नहीं है. यू विल सी दिस चेंज, राइट? सो सी व्हाट इज करंट ट्रेंड, अभी का ट्रेंड क्या है? दिस इज योर, सॉरी, दिस इज योर करंट ट्रेंड डेटा. करंट ट्रेंड मींस करंट ईयर ग्रोथ, current year, current quarter one year. Actually, I should write current trend में quarter one, so that you may get proper understanding that yes, these are latest result. Now, as you know, people are worried everywhere. You saw the GDP data that quarter one 25% GDP down आ गया. So that's right, because GDP में मेजोरिटी ये लोग क्या देखते हैं? मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनीज, राइट? तो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का हिस्सा ज्यादा है. 82% of core manufacturing were closed during lockdown, right? सर्विस सेक्टर का भी कुछ हिस्सा है जीडीपी में. सर्विस सेक्टर ओपन था, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द सर्विस सेक्टर में लॉकडाउन 82% नहीं था, 62% जैसा हम लोग गिन सकते हैं, right? So that is the reason you see bad figure in GDP, but the same bad figure you will not see in real market. That's the reason people are seeing GDP put up. बाजार चल रहा है. अरे भाई, जीडीपी और निफ्टी में थोड़ा डिफरेंस है, राइट? सी हियर यू कैन सी निफ्टी 50 रिजल्ट कितने डाउन है धंधे. निफ्टी 50 की कंपनी को आप टोटल करो, इफ यू सी मीडियन ऑफ निफ्टी 50, इट्स down by only 8%. Quarter one, your GDP is down by 25%. Why? Because in GDP you count all the thing. In Nifty 50, they are top 50 companies. They are outperforming other companies, right? So Nifty 50 have fallen by only 8%. So if you expect that GDP could stay between -5 to 0 to +2-3% this year, then you will see even Nifty 50 companies staying between -5 to +5% this year, right? So Nifty 50 always outperform GDP. Here you will see even profits have fallen by only 19%. That's good thing, right? If you see top Nifty-11, see in real term, पता चला कि Nifty 50 रिकवर होके 80% आ गया. See, Nifty-11's sales are positive by 4%. How it is possible? Figure आपके सामने. So if you consider top 11 companies, your sales have grown by 4%, and you are shouting your GDP is fallen by 25%, and why market is going up? Data. Profits in real term have grown by 6%, right? So you should expect positive EPS this year, right? See, at least we need 20% growth in EPS, तो ही तेजी होती है, नहीं तो फिर वो तो रेंज बाउंड ही है. 6% is nothing. लेकिन at least we are not as bad as we were expecting during initial time of corona. बुरे आंकड़े है क्या ये? यस, एक चीज है, बैंक में जो हम देख रहे हैं अभी, आईसीआईसी बैंक, एचडीएफसी बैंक, यू आर सीइंग ग्रोथ. वी माइट नॉट सी ग्रोथ व्हेन वी सी क्वार्टर टू रिजल्ट. व्हाई? बिकॉज आफ्टर मोराटोरियम वी आर गोइंग टू सी ह्यूज स्पाइक इन एनपीएस, राइट? राइट नाउ अंधेरा है, कितना होगा पता नहीं. अंदाजा है 5 ट्रिलियन जितना तो होना चाहिए, ऐसा लोगों का अंदाजा है. देखते हैं अभी सही में क्या होता है. बट we may see that banking could go wrong, IT could go more positive. 0 to 6% बराबर है, इतना एक्सपेक्ट करना चाहिए in quarter two. In quarter two, your GDP, which has shown -25, could be around -10 to 11%, right? So as you can see, housing finance मत देखो रिजल्ट, right? मोराटोरियम का इफेक्ट है यहाँ पे. Bharti have grown by 15%. So see, this is the company which have underperformed during last 10 years. Post-corona, this is the company outperforming Nifty. Can you see? Huge demand in telecom industry. ये जो लॉस देख रहे हो ना, कंपनियां इसलिए मान गई है. demand जबरदस्त है. So what company did? They are paying to all those pending penalties which are pending since last long time. They know that now is the time of 5G. Now is the time of huge demand. So let us pay, let us resolve everything and move further. Right? So yes, we should see huge U-turn in Bharti Airtel. Along with Bharti Airtel, you can see here that if your INFI has shown 9% growth, 12% profit growth, in minus 25% GDP, then that's good thing. You can see boom in IT. IT company double हो सकती है यहाँ से और, right? Same thing for TCS. 0% I think is better. Hindustan Lever 4% plus is good thing in minus 25% GDP. Considering this data, be prepared. Manufacturing down. Manufacturing, construction down. Aviation was the fastest growing industry, but this year we are going to see them in a huge pressure, right? Even tourism could be in huge pressure. Considering this data also, you can see that essential product में कोई मंदी नहीं. What comes in essential product? Actual type of companies, personal product. Pharma comes in essential, right? These all are growing. यहाँ पे आपको growth दिखेगा, right? Then apart from this, service sector, कोई मंदी वहां पे नहीं होनी चाहिए. आईटी सेक्टर, टेक्नोलॉजी सेक्टर, यू कैन सी ह्यूज बूम. तो वो सब सेक्टर में अपना वेटेज बड़ा तेज है. कंस्ट्रक्शन टाइप ऑफ कंपनीज, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग टाइप ऑफ कंपनीज, वी कुड सी पोस्ट Q3 और Q4 वहां पे हम लोग यू टर्न देखेंगे, राइट? और एविएशन टूरिज्म में तो ये साल खराब ही रहेगा लगता है. नेक्स्ट ईयर से हम लोग यू टर्न देख सकते हैं. So we prepared this. The companies from the sector which we just discussed right now increase weightage. The companies which are not able to do business decrease weightage. Right? See, this is the return which we have seen in Nifty-11 companies, and this was thing we should expect in Nifty-11 companies in coming time also. भले कंपनियां बदल जाएगी, पर new companies are going to see good return. See, these all companies have given you every 20% return during last 20 years. Let me give you one more golden figure. If your company have given 20% CAGR return in 20 years, it means your money have multiplied by 20 times in 20 years. That's the magic of compounding. तो आने वाले 20 साल में भी you are going to see same thing, पर वो किस में होगा? इन कंपनियों में नहीं. Yes, in this list also, all those companies which will be able to grow their sales and profit by 20%, you will see same thing, right? In new emerging sector where you are going to see 20% growth in sales and profit, you will see huge wealth creation. इतना बढ़िया wealth create करके दिया है. 20% return in last 2 decades, 21% return in last 1 decade, right? Dividend यहाँ पे आपको दिख रहा है 245% because Bharti made loss this year. Still they have distributed dividend, right? Because that was one time loss. ऐसा नहीं है कि भारती loss कर रहा है वर्षों से. This year we will see good profit in Bharti Airtel. The HUL, as I said, they distribute 70% in dividend, right? Because that's a multinational company. You can focus in Indian multinational companies in same personal care product. I think that Godrej consumer type of companies, Marico type of companies will expand their business by double digit. अच्छा धंधा वहाँ पे होगा. Right? So this all was Nifty. We have already provided you this Excel sheet. See all the companies' behavior we have given. ये HDFC बैंक का पूरा behavior देखो. भाव आधे होते हैं, भाव चलते हैं. ट्रैक में मत आ जाओ. दिस बिहेवियर विल हेल्प यू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ कंपनीज रन. टीसीएस का दिया है, एक कंपनी मेरे को आप बताना जो टूटी नहीं है. हर कंपनी टूटेगी. डोंट गेट अफ्रेड आउट ऑफ दिस ऑल. HUL, HDFC, Reliance, ITC, L&T, right? See, here is the data of L&T. You will able to learn कि L&T अगर इंफ्रा की ही कंपनी होती तो इतनी नहीं बढ़ पाती जितनी वो आज बढ़ी है. बट सी टुडे देयर ये मंदी में Q1 में इंफ्रा 53% टूटा. यानी उनका इंफ्रा में जहां धंधा था, their business fallen by 50%, but their IT and techno wing have grown by 57%. तो ये आपको क्या बताता है, यहीं से हमें लॉजिक समझ जाना चाहिए that IT and technology companies are growing. No need to worry in Corona also, right? So this was all about this data study. If you want to join in upcoming workshop of 24th September, get ready. Huh? During August, we have not launched any of the new batch. As September batch will be started in October, no new batch will be there, right? Thank you so much. Best of luck to everybody. Jai Hind.